Not crazy like this.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But you all enjoy to see that it was
I don't know how you.
I have to know later. Elarim, not Daisy. Ben Daisy. Elarim Daisy.
I don't know who he is, but in my
Okay. Let's do Ramphis. Ramphis, Ben David, Ben Daisy, Hashem should help. We'll talk later. All right. Okay, Rabotai. Everybody ready or what?
Israel and Jewish people.
All right. All right, politics is going on pause.
All right.
Let's talk about those chickens. Okay, so last week, if you weren't here, was everybody here last week? Adam wasn't here.
I was not.
Yeah.
All I can say is,
You got the last word because you're a Kohen. Yeah?
yeah.
I'll tell you in a second.
Big mistake.
Yes.
Okay. If you weren't here last week, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. We're going to do another gemara. I want to show you. Beza did it for you because you had all your questions. So let's do page 75. So page 75. A in Gemara Shabbat. You don't have to look inside if you don't want to, but if you want to, you're welcome to. You watch out for that soup, okay? Careful. Says the Gemara, we are going to be here. I'll show you. Ayin He Amud Aleph, which is 75A. And I want to find exactly the spot that we don't waste too much time. So the Gemara says, let's just do the whole thing. From Tanura Banan, after the two dots, like halfway down the page. Tanura Banan, Hatzad Sevi, someone who hunts a deer on Shabbat, you're not allowed to go hunting or trapping. What do you mean it's not there? Is it Shabbat?
Maybe it's
there. No, it's there. Ayin He Amud Aleph. Let's start. Hasad Sevi, someone who hunts a deer. One of the melachot, one of the forbidden actions on Shabbat is hunting. It's sidah. It's also trapping. It's keeping an animal, taking an animal from a free state to a locked up state. Okay?
How does the malacha from the
They needed the hilazon to dye the techelet, which we'll talk about in 1 second. Okay? Hasad. Tanur Rabbanan, the rabbi said, Hasad hilazon ve'apotze'o. You want dye. So the hilazon is this creepy, crawly, fishy, blue dye fish that they use for the techelet. Some people say now we have hilazon again. Okay, whatever. It's the whole story.
We heard about him a couple months ago.
The hilazon? Okay,
That was in, what's his name?
every year someone else says they found a hilazon. That's okay. Could be true.
We learned this class.
Oh, we did this?
Yeah. It was, whoever was complaining about this portion of land and he.
Oh, yeah. Very good. It was Naphtali. It was Naphtali Zebulun. Very good. Thank you, Itai. Okay, so the hilazon, the blood of the hilazon. So which part of the hilazon gave the dye? It was the blood of the hilazon, not some secretion. It was the actual blood. Hatzad hilazon ve'apotze'o. So someone traps and grabs a hilazon on Shabbat and squeezes it for its blood. Eno hayav ela achat. So it says the rabbis say he's hayav one, which is enough. It's very bad. One Shabbat transgression. Which one? Rashi says Seda. Only liable for the hunting, not for the squeezing. The squeezing of the blood, you were letting you off the hook. But God forbid, they'll kill the guy for the other thing, but not for the squeezing.
And he squeezed it intentionally?
Yeah, he wants the blood.
He didn't kill it.
He squeezed it. If you squeeze it, it's going to die. Yeah.
What if he already had one caught and he just then squeezed it?
That's a great question, and it'll send us way off the rails. But you have to define caught. Caught. If you trap,
Never mind.
no, it's okay. I'm going to address your question a little bit in 1 second, and I think you'll get it from another way. Let's see. You only hayab for the pitzi'ah, for the squeezing. You're not hayab for the hunting of the hilazon. Rabbi Yehuda says hayab shtayim. You're hayab for both. So Rabbi Yehuda is more strict, just like the mahloka we said last week. It's a mahloka Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda holds even dabat shalom mitkaven. As you did something that you didn't plan on doing it, you're still hayav because you broke Shabbat. Okay, why? Because he held squeezing is part of the melacha of threshing. When someone threshes, they take the wheat out of the shaft. They're removing the good part of the wheat from the garbage part of the shaft, and so too he holds. You're taking the good dye, the good blood out of the garbage hilazon. No one can't eat it. No one wants this little crab after you get rid of it. Amrullah, the rabbi said to him, "In pitzi'ah bechal disha." No, squeezing is not part of the sea world. Doesn't have threshing. Threshing is a grain. It's an agricultural thing. You can't tell me that taking blood out of a fish is called threshing. So they hold you're not liable for the threshing, and therefore only for the hunting. Now, to Ezra's question, the Tosafot asked the question. A couple of Mefashim asked the question, why you're not hayab for the hunting, for the trapping, and they give various answers. One answer they give, the easiest one is, you collected it into a big pool of water. You took a huge bucket, and you caught a hilazon fish in a big bucket. That's not caught yet. You can sit there for a half hour still trying to catch that hilazon. So when it comes to trapping on Shabbat, when it comes to hunting an animal on Shabbat, it has to be actually contained to be considered hunted and trapped. The Gemara talks about this in another perek, and it says if you corner an animal, and it defines it in enough of a corner that you can grab it in one lunge, that's trapped. But if you corner an animal into this huge room, you can be here for 4 days trying to catch the animal. Try to catch one chicken in this room. That's not called trapped, according to most.
But isn't there a concept if you close the corral or you close the door?
Yeah. Yeah, very good. So we'll talk about it a little bit. A little bit, not a lot. Okay, let's go further, because we gotta get to the main dish that we want to get to here. Amar Rabba says, they hold threshing only applies from the ground, and threshing is not in a fish, so therefore there's no reason for me to punish you. They need another korban hatat for squeezing the blood. You only have to bring korban hatat because you trapped this fish. Okay. Why are you not hayab another hatat for killing a fish? You're not allowed to kill on Shabbat. Shechita is not allowed on Shabbat. Didn't you squeeze the thing to death? So you should forget about the threshing and the squeezing. You killed it. So you should be hayab for killing it.
That wasn't your intention.
Well, you're gonna squeeze it, it's gonna die. It's very little, it's not huge.
But it could be something where you squeeze the blood.
Maybe, good. Let's see. Amar Rabbi Yohanan, nah, he waited for it to die and then he squeezed it. That's why he's not hayab for killing it. Rabba says, even I want to say that if he squeezes it while it's alive and he kills it, he's not hayab for killing it. Why? It's not his intention. Like Rabbi Shimon says, he doesn't want to kill it. I just want the blood. Sounds familiar? Pesik reshe. Didn't you always tell us that even Rabbi Shimon agrees when it's pesik reshe, when it's 100% certainty something will happen, that you're hayab. And so when you squeeze it for the dye, it's gonna die. So therefore, it's pesik reshe v'layamut. So how in the world could you tell me you're not hayab for killing the fish? That's not the answer to the Gemara. Shani hacha, the Gemara says no. As long as it's still breathing, tefen nihale It's better for me. You hear the words of the Gemara? If it's still alive, I want it to be alive. It's better for me. Because when the fish is alive, the blood is better dye.
But
better dye.
no, I am.
So, therefore,
But you lose that.
No, but like, the whole thing is, what is he going to do with it now that he has it on Shabbat? He can't dye anything anyway. So what's the point?
okay, granted. So I'll give you the Rabbanan, Mukzeh, the Rabbanan. But we're talking about biblical now. Biblical.
Dyeing is one of the things that you finish cut.
dye.
Yeah.
He's not dying. He's just squeezing it for the blood.
What is he? Why would you?
You're right.
Why do it on Shabbat? Why?
You're right, but Ezra, hold on. That's rabbinic.
Never mind.
Picking up a pen on Shabbat is not from the Torah. There's no. I'm not writing. You can't pick up a pen, right? That's rabbinic. Now we're only biblical. Only biblical. We want to know Korban Hatat. You guys got to go to Yerushalayim and spend $1,000 on a sheep right now, or whatever they cost. So therefore, or yeah, two zoos for a goat, like we said on Sunday. So therefore, you hear what the Gemara is saying here. Why did I choose this Gemara in addition to last week's Gemara? What did we say last week? Last week we said if you're plucking weeds from the ground on Shabbat, why are you not hayab for making the field beautiful? And the answer was, nah, it's my neighbor's field. Rashi says what? Lo ichpat le. I don't care what my neighbor's field looks like. Tosafot says, lo nihale. I don't like the neighbor. I actually, no, lo nihale means what? I don't enjoy it. I don't like it because I hate my neighbor. So I'm improving his field. That's not what I want. Either way, the Gemara says, when you have a pesik reshe, the lo nihale, it's not hayab, right, Moshe? So over here, the Gemara says straight out, and it says the words nihale. When I squeeze the animal, when I squeeze the fish, yes, it's dying, but I don't want it to die. I like it alive, because when it's alive, its blood is a better dye, it's a better color. When it dies, the color of the blood changes. That's why you're not hayab. And that's the end of the Gemara. Finished. And so we see another Gemara that tells us pesik reshe, and this is a better Gemara. Why? Because this is you actually killed it. It's like the words of the rule pesik reshe. You did it. You killed it. And so even though you killed the animal, it's not good. You don't like it, and so therefore you're off the hook. So we see over here in the Gemara again, pesik reshe the lo nihale is not hayab or korban hatat. Let's read the words of Rashi. Rashi says, Tefeni hale. Here, look at these two Rashis. Mit'aseku esil nishama. I don't want it to die. It's not my intention. Kilomad. Legaber netilat neshama have mit'asek b'davar ahed. Regarding the killing, I don't want it to die. That's not what my motivation is. V'lo havya melechet b'hashevet. Remember those words from last week? It's not melechet mahashevet. It's not what my intention is and what my plan is or my kavanah is. She'elam mitkaven sheyamut. I don't want it to die. Tifeni hale. In fact, the next Rashi, it's better for me if it stays alive. She'edama hai tov min hamamit, because the blood is better when it comes from a living fish than from a dead fish. V'chivan dekol asmo mitkaven v'torah. L'shomro shelo yamut biyado. I try very hard to actually prolong its life and squeeze very gently so I get better dye. I feel a mint in kan elamit asik. So even if it dies, that's not my intention that it should die. When does Rabbi Shimon agree? When does Rabbi Shimon agree that even though I don't want the Shabbat violation, I have to pay for the Shabbat violation only when it's good for me? Right? No, that's not what I wanted. Okay. So we see here Rashi says again the words lo ichpat le. Rashi, the Gemara says the words lo nihale. It's not good for me.
So basically, it's an unintentional act.
It's an unintentional result, not act.
But it's a guaranteed unintentional.
It's an unintentional result. It's not an unintentional act.
But it's a guaranteed result.
It's a guaranteed result. So like the fridge. Opening the fridge is not accidental. I want the food from the fridge. the light going on is unintended.
Is there a way to get the blood out of the halazon or whatever without killing it?
It's a very small fish. It's a very small fish. The hilazon.
Was it done?
No,
But this-
it
but
dies.
this gemara really puts the whole idea of pesik reshe. Well, because the whole basis of pesik reshe is chopping off the head for the kids to play. We would rather have a live chicken.
No, you don't.
Maybe she's laying it eggs, she's doing
What
things, she
chicken?
doesn't want it.
No, chicken.
Last week,
He's not planning to cook it on Shabbat. He doesn't want it there. He just wants the
No,
head.
over here you want the chicken head.
Correct.
A head of a chicken means the chicken's dead.
Well, you take a blood of the fish, means the fish is dead.
No, but the fish is better blood when it's alive.
And the chicken's head is probably fuller blown for the
No.
kids to play
No.
with when it's alive.
Can't say the same thing. Last week in the Gemara, when we said, how are you allowed to pick the weeds? You're making the field beautiful. Pesik reshe v'lo yamut. That's the name of this rule. The name of the rule is pesik reshe v'lo yamut. You're cutting its head off. You think it's not going to die? No. By the chicken, I'm cutting the head because I want to use the head as a ball for the kids, or marbles for the kids to play, whatever they used to do with it. It's not good for me for the head to stay alive while I'm chopping it. You can't even give me one reason.
Why it's not good for you?
Why do I want the chicken to stay alive?
Why you want to say that? You just want the head.
I understand, but there's no pro reason that I should want it to live.
This way, this is saying that if this animal stays alive, right,
The blood
the
is better.
blood is better quality. So you
So
want
it's not
the animal
even,
to stay
there's
alive.
actually a reason why I really don't want it to die.
So first of all,
You have to go on the truth that you do.
Yes, you do. You want the head.
What the heck? You want to die.
I know it's going to die, but there's no reason why I can say, I really want the chicken to
There's
live.
no reason for you to want to die.
But right, so you're even ground. There's
Oh,
no,
but the other one you have something.
you have a,
okay, but that's not what Rashi says.
but Rashi says lo ichpat le. Yes.
So if we
So you're asking a question at Rashi.
yeah, I'm asking a question.
Okay, so you have to say that. You have to say that.
I'm asking a question on Rashi, but I'm actually asking a question on the Gemara because I'm still having a difficulty saying that there is a great distinction between the two elements. Because I can sit here and make an argument how his kids want to play with the chicken head as it was the custom those days. And it's better off if the chicken is alive while he's chopping the head. So it's more full of blood. It's got more. It's a better toy to play with. It's
It's not a better toy.
But you cannot.
You can just make stuff up.
alive the other head.
Huh? But you cannot have a fish alive without the blood.
You can get the blood out while the fish is alive.
Then it's dead.
Not necessarily.
No, that's all. It could not. He dies. He dies. No matter what, he dies.
That's what they used to do.
That's the rule.
He dies.
That's what they used to do. You can't judge history in hindsight. It's not fair. They used to be different.
Put the fish first.
100 years from now, they'll be thinking we're cruel because we eat the fish. That's what they used to do. I'll give you guys 30 seconds to hash it out. No, it's okay. Let them hash out for a few seconds, and then
Shabbat, but they say 5
And I'll read
minutes
you,
before Shabbat ends. You squeeze out the blood, the fish is still alive, and then Shabbat is over, Moshe Shabbat dies. Right?
I know, but it's the time of death.
if Moshe is asking a question on Rashi, we agree there's a question on Rashi. Right, Yaniv? Yaniv, if he's saying, I don't understand Rashi, I understand that question, because Rashi says, lo ichpat le is the rule. As long as you don't care about the result, you're clear. So he can say the same thing by the chicken. I don't care that he should die.
That's why we have a question on Rashi.
So you have to say that, but you can't just say it's a question on the Gemara. If you don't hold like Rashi, if you the Gemara doesn't say, does the Gemara say the word ichpat, Moshe? Who said the word ichpat?
I understand what you're saying. I certainly have a question on Rashi.
We got that.
But I'm still grappling. I'm still having a little bit of a difficulty understanding how the Gemara could make the claim that, it's not the same word. In fact, it's the same. You're killing an animal.
We're Jewish.
You're killing an animal unintentionally for something that the animal.
I want the blood of the animal, and it's in my benefit that the animal should stay alive as long as I can.
As long as you pull the blood.
Because I want live blood, not dead blood. I want live blood.
Yeah, as long as you pull it.
Live blood is what I want. I don't want dead blood.
You don't,
In law, we call it causation. Because you actually
Causation
cause
is
death.
nothing in Judaism. It's nothing in
I
Judaism.
mean, you're responsible if you cause the death. It
What
doesn't matter if you cause it because you
2
want
minutes
it.
before Shabbat ends, and you start bleeding the animal, and you keep it alive, you just squeeze it slowly, and then Shabbat is over, and then the animal dies.
I'll give you another way to look at it, like he's saying, like Bezat's saying. Let's look at with the way Bezat's looking at this. I squeeze the animal, I squeeze the fish, a little blood comes out. Did I do anything wrong?
No.
I squeeze a little bit more. Did I do anything wrong? Just the last squeeze. The last squeeze, it died.
But you killed it.
I didn't mean it. So then I wouldn't have done that last squeeze. All the squeezes before the last one is kosher. You're killing me because of one last squeeze?
We agree that squeezing blood out of an animal on Shabbat is not one of the
No, killing is. Yeah.
No,
You
squeezing
agree?
blood.
Right. It's not. Let's say it's not.
If we agree,
Whatever.
let's say,
What if you didn't want
let's say
blood?
scientifically
Except-
know that the first blood will never kill.
Good.
If we
Then
agree,
you must scheme.
that
That
just
squeezing is
blood
fine.
in the first blood is not
It's not, which what the Gemara itself says. Yeah.
Then I guess you're okay.
Okay, we're okay, guys. That's the answer. The answer is, what am I doing wrong? I'm squeezing live blood. At the last squeeze, I went one too far. Oops. It wasn't on purpose. I don't want that blood. I want live blood. Listen to the question on Ashi.
That's an excellent explanation.
Good.
But the question is, if then the Gemara should say that a person has to be mitkaven not to kill it on every drop of blood that is.
But that's what it says. It's keeping it alive is in your benefit. Now, your question on Rashi, however, is a very solid question. Rashi, why are you saying the rule is, we know the rule, I've been saying this word for pesik, reshe, lo nihale. Chop his head off, but you don't like it. Lo nihale means it's not good for you. Niha means good. Rashi says, ichpatle. Pesik reshe velo ichpatle, which is different than nihale. Rashi keeps saying this. You chop his head off, but you don't care about the result. In other words, the lack of enjoying it is enough for Rashi. Enough. So, for example, let's go to a modern example. We're walking down the street, and I have the neighbor's ring doorbell. And we'll get to these examples, hopefully, if not tonight, then next week. The ring doorbells that'll go on. Is it nihale or is it ichpatle? Do I like that when it went on? I don't like it that it went on. Do I not like it? What if I just don't care? Right? So if I'm saying I don't like being recorded. Okay, great. Everyone agrees. But what if I'm walking and the little light goes on? Or the elevator open, the electric doors open. Or the elevator.
The nest thermostat goes on. Or
Every time you walk by the nest. Every time you walk by that nest, by the way, it glows orange, right? Yeah, I used to have one. So do you care? Do you not like it? What don't you like about it? No, it's just lo ichpatle. So according to Rashi, that's enough. It's lo ichpatle. I don't care. As long as you don't care, faddal. According to Rashi. Or according to Tosafot, and the Gemara's words, no, it's got to be lo nihale. It has to be bad for you. You don't want this result. Not stam, okay, a light went on. Now you can say, I don't want the electric bill to go up. That's a very valid claim.
For the previous Gemara from last week, it was
You didn't say
care at the beginning of the Gemara when Rashi gave the comment.
Rashi again said lo ichpatle.
I
don't
but
care.
that was the case. So
Right, but the support changes it to lo nihale, which means
But
what is the ramification? I'll give you another example. There's a hotel.
Rashi is more metal. It's more easier.
It's a big halakha difference.
Right.
I'm in a hotel. I'm standing by the double doors, and it opens. I'm walking with the door, whatever, it opened. Can I walk away from the doors? If the second I walk away towards the lobby, the doors are going to close. Do I care if the door closes? Okay. Do you not want the doors to close? I don't not want it to close. I just don't care. Okay. According to Rashi, you're good, but according to Zafot, nope, you didn't fulfill the ramification. It has to be lo nihale. You don't like the result. Big difference. So let's ask the question that you just asked. I'm going to read you just a couple lines from Rabbi Akiva Eiger. Says Rabbi Akiva Eiger, Hasad hilazon ve'apotzeo, our gemara. Someone who hunts a fish, traps a fish and squeezes it. He says, I'm going to skip a couple of lines. Shani hacha. Over here it's different because you want it to stay alive. Because you really want it to stay alive. Even though Rabbi Shimon agrees that you cannot do a pesik reshe, an automatic reaction. However, there's rules. Shani hacha. No, over here it's different because you don't like the result of the fish dying. You want it to stay alive. Rashi says, Rabbi Shimon agrees as long as you don't care. Again, that word, mia, betema. It's a wonder, says the Ricky Yeager. It's to look later on page 103, which we did last week. And it says we're talking about you're picking the weeds in your friend's yard. And the after pesik reshe, the Rashi over there says also you don't care. And over there we said if you're picking it in loich, Rashi said if you don't care, it's enough. And over here we're saying if you don't care, it's not called killing. Rashi, why are you using these words? The Hashem igale enai. Hashem should reveal to me the answer. I have no idea what Rashi is talking about. This is Rabbi Yeager. So Safot asks a very similar question.
So he doesn't give it the roots. He
No.
just says, I don't get it.
I don't get it. Rashi, why are you saying the words? Who told you to say this word? Lo ichpat le. The Gemara says lo nihale. But Rashi's a heavy hitter. So I want to read you just a couple of the Rishonim.
Did Hashem answer him?
No, I mean he probably did, but he didn't share it with us. I want to read just a couple of the Rishonim, and we'll give you some of the answers here. And explain to you some of the mahlokets and get some halacha l'maaseh. So we have over here. I'll summarize. I'm not going to read a lot of Rishonim for you because I don't want to bore you. So Rashi says straight out that if it's lo ichpat le and a pesik reshe, it's allowed. Question: according to Rashi, is this lechatechila or b'di'abad? We don't know. According to Rashi, I would think it's even lechatechila, which means go ahead and do it.
I think so because he explains the gemara.
He says you can squeeze the fish.
Yeah.
So some people want to say maybe it's only we have to think about this for the whole thing, this whole topic. If pesik reshe is only lechatechila or it's only b'di'abad, which means b'di'abad for sure.
No, it has to be only b'di'abad.
Maybe even the chatechila.
Because
maybe even the chatechila.
but there's a melacha involved to begin with. So how could you go?
I don't want to do that melacha because
you're doing a melacha anyways.
Very good.
This week,
so the poskim, the Mefarshim, right? The Meiri writes this, and maybe I'll read you the Meiri, and he says this mahloket, the pesik reshe, is only for Shabbat. You can't do this for any other law. You can't just be like, oh, I didn't want to steal, but when I picked up the bucket, the money was in there. It's not what I wanted the bucket. I didn't want the money. No, you can't steal. You can't do an action, causation. Only for Shabbat, we need something that's called Melechet Mahashevet. You need a planned, creative work. We care about your kavanah on Shabbat. Yom Hol, pesik reshe, you cannot do something on Yom Hol that's going to cause a reaction. You cannot take TNT, light this one, which lights the next one, which blows up your neighbor's house, and say, we're just lighting fireworks. For me. I don't want your house to blow up.
Gemara talks about that. Don't it?
Yeah.
Gemara,
you can't do that. You have to make sure you don't damage people. So the pesik reshe is only a Shabbat halakha. A lot of Mefarshim say. This is Tosafot that we read last week. I'm going to read it again because he's going to argue on Rashi. This is the Aruch. Ashkenazim call him the Aruch. Pirush ba'aruch. It says in the Aruch, if there's an immediate reaction that's not good for you, kegon, like you're picking weeds out of your friend's house, afilu dirabanan leka isura. There's not even a rabbinic prohibition. The Aruch holds. Go ahead and do it. Even go open the fridge, but the light's on in the fridge. It doesn't matter. Do you want the light to go on? I don't want the light to go on. Open the fridge.
So he holds Rashi.
According to the Aruch.
He holds Rashi.
With lo nihale, not lo ichpat le. Which means you have to not like the result.
Nichal means don't like the result.
You don't like the result.
Then
Ikhba'li means I don't care. So the aruch,
It sounds to me, in law, we have certain crimes that are specific intent and certain crimes that are general intent. Specific, you have to have like, I want this to happen, this is why I'm doing this.
yes,
And have the knowledge that this is gonna happen.
yes,
But general, it's more like, if I do this, this will cause like this chain reaction.
yeah,
So it's almost like that.
with
like,
intent, like intent with assault with intent. You need
yeah,
intent, right?
Or meditation or,
Right.
but
We
that's
don't hold it that.
specific intent. But for Shabbat,
Us,
We don't.
you're looking for that. Like my intention is
Shabbat we do. Shabbat intention.
That's
You
what
need
it sounds
melechet
like.
mahashebet. It cares what your intention is. So the aruch takes us so far. Afilu isuta banan leka he holds.
you give an example of a refrigerator. If you know the lights are gonna go.
The aruch says, I'm not saying halakha ma'aseh yet. It's the aruch. So Safar quotes him. The aruch says, even a isud rabanan leka, as long as you don't like the result. So now, all the examples. Open the fridge, the light going on. Do you want that result?
No, but you like it because you can see.
Okay, so then if it's
you don't.
but that's Rashi. According to the aruch, it has to be lo nihale, which means,
Same.
right, I don't want my electric bill to go on. I don't want, can I do it? Think of anything.
You know, it's like these new systems that they have motion sensor, sprinkler goes on. Nobody wants to get wet walking onto shul on Shabbat, so you really don't like the results for motion sensor to go on and get you wet.
All these examples going to the aruch is mutal lechatahila. It's very lenient, the aruch. Because the Gemara, could you blame him? Read the Gemara.
Rashi is more lenient.
Yeah, he's very lenient, but the Gemara, it's Gemara says straight out. It sounds like,
Because if you don't like it, you'll never do it.
no, because I want my reaction.
You're doing something you don't
Right.
want that.
I don't want the secondary reaction.
You don't want to.
I want my first reaction
I want to
more.
walk from point A to point B. Whether the light goes.
By the way, if you want to get philosophical, Moshe, hold on. If you want to get philosophical, I want point one's outcome more than I don't want point B's outcome.
But none of these
That's what it is.
examples that we're giving is applicable to this. I said this last week also. It's not applicable
Why?
because in these examples of the Gemara last week and this
Why?
week, I explained to you.
I gave you the wine one. The wine was perfect. The wine barrel.
What about the wine barrel?
The wine barrel. I have a wine barrel. I have a huge keg of wine, expensive stuff, and there's a hole in the side of the barrel, and it's
Right.
plugged up with a towel. If I pull out the towel on Shabbat, it's going to squeeze wine on the way out. With my hands, going to squeeze wine. I want the wine. I don't want the wasted wine on the floor, but I want the wine more than I don't want to waste. So I'm going to drink. The aruch would say, go for it.
No, but you're squeezing.
I'm squeezing the
No.
towel, not because I want to squeeze the wine. I don't want to waste wine on the
I
floor,
understand that, but
but I want to drink the
no,
wine.
what I'm saying is that when all of these examples, your primary action is a malacha. But if you're opening up the refrigerator is not asur.
Okay.
The secondary action is asur.
What?
You're walking to shul is not asur,
Okay.
but the light is a secondary action. And they're all
What you're
primary-
saying,
Yeah, but
there are people
the
who-
wine barrel is not.
yeah.
So when you take it out, you're squeezing.
Oh, don't forget it. Don't forget it. 1 second. Don't forget it.
You wanted to do it.
Bezat, listen.
Your primary action
Listen,
is
baby.
malacha. Where you're walking to shul is not a malacha.
Listen.
The light is
Listen.
secondary.
Listen. Yesh omrim. This is Yakut Yosef. Yesh omrim she'aseh peulat heter. If I do a permissible action, sheketotza'a mimena na'aset melechet isud. And as a reaction of my permissible action, like walking, there's going to be an isud, like a light going on. Lo nihale b'melechet isud. And I don't want that secondary reaction. Af im hi melacha asura min haTorah mutar. It doesn't matter. Even if it's asur, go for it. They call pesik reshe v'lo nihale mutar. As long as it's a melechet heter that you're doing. Some people say exactly what you're saying. V'yesh cholkim. And then people argue. I think what you're saying is, as long as my initial reaction doesn't break Shabbat, anything that happens as a result should be fine.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you're using this as a precedent for it, it doesn't apply here. Maybe there's a different precedent elsewhere. But
What are you looking for? What is your ideal example? I'm breaking Shabbat?
No, ideal example would be that in the Gemara gives you a situation that you're not doing a malacha, and as a result, it's like walking to shul, right? Whatever you're doing is permissible.
I'm squeezing the fish.
That's not permissible.
The Gemara just said it's fine.
Then why can't you
No,
fish
it's not.
now?
What are you talking about?
The Gemara says it's not fine.
No, it says you're hayab for the tzeddah.
Exactly.
Let's say I had it on my hand before Shabbat. There's no
Right.
tzeddah. I'm walking Erev Shabbat like this. And I just squeeze it. Seems from the Gemara that it's going to be fine.
Then why
No,
can't
but
you
you
fish
already
now?
You could squeeze the towel. You could, when you want to pull it out of the keg, it's pesik reshe. It's lo nihale.
You're not trying, right?
I don't want the result.
So they're saying there's no issue with walking and lights going on.
According to the Aruch, so far what we got to,
According to Chama, yeah.
he quoted an opinion. That was one opinion. We'll talk about halakha l'maaseh. But according to the Aruch, go for it. Good. Most of the Rishonim argue on the Aruch. Most.
So wait, so you open up a refrigerator,
According to the Aruch, you have to give me a reason why you don't want the light to go on. Is it, I don't want my electric bill to go up? Or something like that. I don't want the motor to go on. Okay, as long as you don't like the result, go for it. The Aruch would hold. Most Rishonim disagree with the Aruch. I'll read you just, for example, one of them. I'll read you one.
What you're saying is exactly what I'm saying, right?
What? Hacham is the first opinion, but he doesn't say this halakha l'maaseh. He says v'yek halkim. Others argue v'chen ikar, and the main thing is it's not true. But what I'm trying to say is what you're saying, people do say,
Right.
but we don't take halakha l'maaseh. I'll read you just one rishon, just to show you. Tosafot himself, if you look at Tosafot on page 103, he says, no. Lo mechayev hatat. When it says pesik reshe is allowed, it means you don't have to give a hatat. But it's still forbidden. You can't just abuse this pesik reshe rule. Tosafot says it's patur abalasur. Remember the first thing I told you? Yeah, even lani halat. Tosafot says it's not a permission to do whatever you want. It's you're out of punishment. Okay, if you did, b'di avad.
That's what.
This is what Tosafot says.
That's what Maran Ovadiah says also.
No, not necessarily.
He says the issue but I don't take.
No, because I only brought one. No, not exactly what Tosafot says. Give me a second. I'll show you. I'll read you the Rashba. 1 second. I'll show you what the Rashba says. The Rashba says. Erev Shabbat. Timer? Timers are fine. Yeah, timers are fine.
it's probably better to put it.
Yeah. He says over here, the Rashba says, now, I have to read you the Rashba. The Rashba says something amazing. So I hope I'm not confusing you. We'll get to halakha l'maaseh, but there's going to be a few levels here. We have the Aruch. The Aruch is the most lenient. He says, take this rule and run with it.
And Aruch is a Rishonim.
Yeah, Tosafot quoted him. Yeah.
Oh, not in Shulchan.
No, not Shulchan Aruch. The Aruch.
That's it. Okay.
And then you have Tosafot who says, no, it's still Asur. It's Asur midrabanan. But you cannot use pesik reshe. Look at the Hilas, says Tosafot. Listen to this Rashba. Unbelievable. This Rashba, I don't think there's one person that agrees with this Rashba. The Gemara, this is talking about, can you close the door of your house behind a deer? If a deer let's say you want deer, or horses or chickens, name your animal that you want, a puppy.
What about your dog?
Your own dog's a good question, but hold on, let's start out. By the way, you had a question. Okay. Let's say you want to catch let's start with another dog, and if we have time, go to your dog. Okay. This dog's running around, like, I really want a puppy. I really want one. And so I can't, on Shabbat, I'm not allowed to shoo the dog in my house and close the door. That's hunting, that's trapping on Shabbat. You can't do that. But what if the dog already ran into my house? Can I close the door after he ran in on his own? So the Gemara says, no, you can't do that. It's hunting. But the Rashba says,
if you intend to close the door, or you intend to trap.
The Rashba says something amazing.
But he runs away.
The Rashba says, I'll read it to you. He says, okay, fine. בשעה שנעל בהיתר נעל לשמור מה שבתוכו, ואפילו מתכוון לשמור הצבי. Even if you had a kavanah to lock up this deer or chicken or dog, you want it in your house. שגם הוא מכר חפשי ביתו ונועל לשומרו לכתחילה. You also want to close the door to your house. I don't want people walking in my house. So why am I closing the door? The Rashba. Everyone argues on this Rashba. So I think I read one person says it might be a typo, a ta'ut sofer. It's unbelievable he said this. The Rashba says, I closed the door to my house, and I said, why'd you close the door to your house? 2 reasons. Number one, I want that puppy that ran inside my house. I'm being honest with you. Number two, I also don't want my house open to strangers. Says the Rashba, if you have 2 kavanot, it's allowed. Unbelievable Rashba. Almost everyone argues. Somebody shouldn't even say it to the Rashba. You're literally uprooting the whole Shabbat. Every melacha on Shabbat, you can always say there's 2 kavanot. It's like you're uprooting.
If you have the intention to trap this animal, like
I have a dual intention.
No, if you have the intention to trap an animal in your house by like putting bait and leaving the door open, I could see that. But if it happened to run in by chance,
No, you're not allowed to close the door if it runs in.
yeah. But your door is usually closed.
It's a form of hunting. You're keeping
You're keeping it. You're not
But
allowed.
your door is usually closed, right?
Even with your own pet.
I tell you, my intention was to hunt.
So
Even with your own.
which one he says first? Which one is first intention?
It doesn't matter. The Rashba doesn't say. He says you have 2. If you have a double kavanah, then it's going to be okay. But everyone argues in the Rashba says, what are you doing to every melacha on Shabbat? Everything you do, I have a double kavanah. A double kavanah is a double kavanah.
Yeah,
Let me take it to the flip side, to the other extreme.
Yeah.
An animal runs in, you gotta leave the house.
He likes it. Of course you like it.
You gotta leave the house. An animal runs in, you gotta leave the house. Your tie is about to start. Right? You say, please leave, because I don't want to be
That's lo nihale.
So
Lo nihale.
that would be like lo
Lo
nihale.
nihale.
Accept.
Yeah. Now listen to this. Says Hacham Yitzhak Yosef in Yosef.
No, it's not lo nihale.
I don't want the dog.
I don't want you to be here because I don't want to break Shabbat. But
Oh.
I want it's a different.
That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother thing.
I mean, I have an issue. I need to close the door. because
What you're
I don't
now
want to have
asking
kids.
is a whole nother topic. It's
Or
my
let's say a
personal.
dangerous bear goes in your house, you don't want anybody else to get hurt.
That's what you're touching on now is something I personally spent many hours on. I want to keep Shabbat. So everything that's violation of Shabbat, deep inside, I don't want to
I don't
happen.
want it.
I know, it's a whole nother thing. I spent so many hours on that. Da'at HaRashba, forget about that, it's going to ruin the whole thing. Da'at HaRashba, the opinion of the Rashba, Dema she'asta Torah pesik reshe, this is what we said, even a pesik reshe, Rabbi Shimon says is not allowed, hu dafka, כשבאותו מעשה, אינו מתכוון ואינו עושה דבר היתר עמו. That's only if there's nothing allowed with what you're doing. About in be'oto ha'pesik reshe, when you're doing your pesik reshe, which is a guaranteed hilul Shabbat, oseh imo davar heter, I do one thing that's also allowed, like closing my door in my house. Umtkaven gam ledavar heter, and I want both results. Gam ledavar heter, not rak. I want both results. As a field of pesik reshe, mechaven gam ken elav mutar. Rashba says it's allowed. Uchgon bayis yesh bo tzvi, a house with a deer in it. So get a deer gam kedel shmona bayit v'gam kedel sud et tzvi. I do both. I want to close my door and I want to hunt. Eno bechad pesik reshe, according to the Rashba. Eno bechad pesik reshe. Me'ahar mechaven gam lemelechet heter. Uledina en leistamech al sevat Rashba. We cannot use the Rashba. I'm sorry. Nobody goes by it. Everyone is bewildered by this Rashba. How could you be so meti? So that's a very far, let's say, far left opinion. It's a very far left opinion. Most Rishonim hold, the Meiri, the Ramban, most Rishonim hold a pesik reshe is gonna be, what's the words I want to write? I want to use. Asur lechatechila mutar b'di'avad. You cannot go ahead, like Tosafot says. You cannot go ahead and do a pesik reshe, but if you did it, it's okay. But everything we're talking about now is, are we talking about Isur Deoraita of Shabbat or Isur de Rabbanan? Nobody said anything like about this. This pesik reshe that's Asur, according to Tosafot, and according to all the Rishonim, pesik reshe is Asur lechatechila. You can't forget the Aruch for a second. Tosafot, Rishonim, you cannot use the pesik reshe lechatechila. Right, but is that what type of Hilul Shabbat are we talking about?
Yeah,
No. Biblical breaking of Shabbat or Rabbanan breaking of Shabbat. What if it's only a Drabanan that's happening in the end of it? You're still not going to let me use pesik reshe? The Aruch lets me use it for Deoraita. That's the question.
Oh, I see.
Everybody got it?
So we know,
Ezra, you got it?
so we know the original discussion here is Deoraita.
Is Deoraita. We started Deoraita.
Does it apply to?
Now that we have our three opinions, the Rashba, the Aruch, Tosafot, and the Rishonim, now we say, okay, we won't hold like the Aruch, let's say. Let's say we don't hold like the Aruch. They just go ahead and do whatever you want. And we won't hold like the Rashba, even though they do hold it. We'll hold like Tosafot that says, hey, don't rely on this pesik reshe. Now, can I ask you a question? If it's a midrabanan, please. It's only midrabanan. What's going to happen? Are the lights going to turn off if I leave? Light turning off is not from the Torah. What's going to? I can't use the Rashba for that. I can't use the Aruch for that. Or maybe they would say, if it's only the Rabbanan, go ahead and use it. That's the question. Got it? Yeah? Okay.
There's another layer.
Yeah.
What happened if the action that you wanted originally is from the Doraita and the pesik reshe, the outcome that derives the secondary action is Rabbanan.
The action I wanted is the Isur Deoraita. The action I'm doing is the Isur Deoraita. Forget about it. I have to be doing a permissible act.
Yeah. So you're right. There's only one action.
None of this comes into play unless I'm doing a permissible act.
Yeah.
Right? So like we said, you said last week, I'm washing my hands outside and the water is spilling on the grass. Do I want to water the grass? No, I want to wash my hands. It's a pesik reshe. Is there a 1% chance the water is not going to hit the grass if I'm pouring it right on top of the grass? No, the water is for sure 100%. So it's a guaranteed outcome. Okay, am I allowed to do this? Think about it for a second. According to the Aruch, is it your grass? Is it nihale? My grass should grow. It's probably nihale. So the Aruch would say, sorry, you can't. You have to check off the box. Lo nihale. It has to be bad for you. Oh, okay.
Rashi would say,
according to Rashi, lo ikhbal. It just has to be you don't care. Okay, I'm in the patch.
Rashba would say definitely okay.
Rashba says you could do it. Tosafot says no. But Tosafot says, okay, you went ahead and did it. Don't worry about it. You're patu. You don't have to bring korban hata. So first of all, the best part about learning halachot like this is you have the knowledge to relax. 90% of anything your family has done, that's pesik. If it's pesik reshe, no one's going to die for that. You have a lot what to rely upon. The Gemara says straight up pesik reshe, lo ikhbat le, lo nihale. It's going to be fine, right? But now we want to know: can I go do something lechatechila? Does Maran Shulchan Aruch talk about this? Maran Shulchan Aruch. Oh, I forgot to say, you sponsored the shiur. Moshe is sponsored in memory of. Well, you get back. What's her name? Okay, Esther Bat Zohara, and we'll read from your Shulchan Aruch, Siman Shin Chav. Maran Shulchan Aruch. Guess which one of these examples that we went through he uses to talk about pesik reshe. We talked about pimple popping last week. We talked about. Can you pop a pimple on Shabbat?
Yes.
As long as you don't draw blood.
Yeah.
No, you can.
Yeah.
Don't draw blood.
As long as
No,
it's
that's not the doctor, but you're not clear about the blood.
Mishnah Berurah says, be careful if there's blood, you just don't get involved in it. Okay, so give us the Moshe here. Moshe, Shin Chaf, only because it's for that's for your dad? Is this grandma the mother of this person?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So Shin Chaf, it's going to be
It's giving me a great problem, but I don't know what it
Shin Chaf. Shin Chaf.
They came on Navim.
Yod Hayat. See if Yod Hayat, 18. We're not going to read the whole thing. It's too long. Just started. Habit. Vela Berit. habit the barrel. So you stopped it up with a towel, let's say, yeah? The wine barrel. Stop right there. I plugged up my wine barrel. Where is the hole? On the wall. Yaniv, the hole on the barrel for the wine or the beer keg is on the side. What if it's on the top? Nothing's gonna spill on the ground. You lose your lo nihale. You understand? You need a bad outcome to make it allowed.
Mosquitoes are gonna go in.
Mosquitoes, maybe. Okay. No, that's neat. Oh, so let's lo nihale. Okay, maybe. So, but Dofana says specifically the holes on the side. Yeah, Moshe. Yesh mi shematir.
יש מי שמתיר להסירו, ואף על פי שאי אפשר שלא יסחור. There are those who will give permission.
Go ahead and do it. Who says this?
The Rashba for sure.
The Aruch. והוא שלא יהיה תחתיו. This is halakha l'maaseh. משהו ערוך.
והוא שלא יהיה תחתיו.
As long as you don't have a bowl on the bottom catching the water.
You're going to be benefiting from the drops falling.
Right.
On the top of
On the top is no spillage.
it's also the rag would probably be dry because the wine.
Maybe that too, but then there was a problem at all, though. No,
It's a bad result.
By the way,
you need the bad result.
Pesik, reshe.
Pesik, reshe, lo nihale. And so therefore, and he goes on and on. I'm going to read you now just a little bit of Kaf Haim, and then we'll close it. Kaf Haim says, pesik, reshe, lo nihale mutar. You're allowed to take the towel out of the wine barrel because the squeezing is just a pesik reshe. Huda ta'aruch. The first opinion is the opinion of the Aruch. She'abiyah Tosafot, which Tosafot quotes, what he said. Bedafka bedofana, but only on the walls. Abale ma'ala, but if the hole's on top of the barrel, because you're going to like it, there's no bad result. The asur gam ta'aruch, even the Aruch will say you cannot do it if it's on top of the barrel because there's no bad result. There's no wine spilling if the hole's on the top. Okay. Hava pesik reshe. Bedafka b'Shabbat the melechet mahashevet asla Torah. Only on Shabbat we're talking about Sha'ari Surim. For anything else, Gam le'ha'aruch, even the Aruch would tell you, Pesik reshet lo nihale asur. You cannot do a reaction that is going to cause another reaction that's going to hurt somebody or make an isur, even though you don't want it.
What's the deal with pulling from the top? It's still touching the wine when you pull it.
But where's it going to spill to? Right back inside of it. It's not going to ruin. We need the wine to ruin.
Depends how long the towel's been sitting there.
So he actually goes in here and he said the towel's very long.
So the thought is that he pulls it and it squeezes right in there. But if he pulls it and it's
squeezed on the floor, he says, "Hey, I don't want the squeeze."
Yeah.
I lost you?
No,
Okay. Now,
we didn't talk about examples of things that are mutar that causes a second, except from Rabbi Vadia. But the rest of all these examples, you're doing malacha to begin with.
there are lots of examples.
You're allowed to want to drink wine on Shabbat.
Or you're not allowed to squeeze the towel. That's a malacha.
But that's the outcome.
Depends on every situation.
No, that's the primary action.
No, it's not. I'm pulling a towel out.
Pulling the towel out, you're squeezing it.
No, you're not looking to squeeze. You're just pulling it and it happens.
Squeezing. That's a secondary action.
You're not doing this. You're not doing this.
I understand that, but that itself is a malacha.
Tosafot on page 103 gives a lot more examples that maybe we can do next week. I want to start reading Halakha Mitah because we got to get some Halakha L'Maaseh here or I'm going to lose everybody.
By the way, from last week, there was something about fun or something that got out. You mentioned I want to do some fun stuff.
We kicked it out.
No fun.
There's no fun.
Shevita b'Shivi'i.
No fun.
That was the fun. Shevita b'Shivi'i mimelacha mitzvat aseh. You're not allowed to work on Shabbat. Lo asla Torah ela melechet mahashevet. The Torah only forbids creative, calculated work. Lefichach. העושה מלאכה האסורה בשבת שלא כדרך עשייתה בחול ושינוי אינה חייב בין התורה אלא מדרבנן. Okay? מתכוון לעשות דבר מותר. I want to do something permissible, like dragging a chair across the lawn or walking in the street. ועשה דבר אחר האסור, כגון שהתכוון לחתוך את התלוש. I want to pick up the already cut carrot. וחתך את המחבד. Whoops, I pulled out the carrot that was connected to the ground. I didn't mean to do it. אינו חייב כלום. That's the בת שלא מתכוון. You didn't mean to do it. ויש אומרים, דמתעסק בשבת אין החשיב כלל כמעשה עבירה, ויש חוקים. ונפקא מינה.
This one's not a signature.
It's building. It's building.
It's totally shgaga.
The way you talk about pesik is first you talk about mit'asek, then you talk about the bat she'eno mikaven, and you build it up. Devarim mutarim la'aslam Shabbat. Something that's allowed on Shabbat. There will be b'sha'at asiyatan efshar shete'aseh b'glalan melacha. Something might happen when you do this thing, like dragging the chair. Ve'efshar shelo te'aseh, or maybe this thing won't happen. The bad result. Im lo nitkaven le'otam melacha. If you don't want the thing to happen, it's allowed. Ketzad. You can drag a bench across a lawn. Because as long as you don't want to make the hole in the ground, I don't want to make a hole, I want to drag it, then go ahead, because it's not 100% that you're going to make a trench. You can walk on grass on Shabbat. Because your kavanah is not to rip it out. And it's not 100% that you're going to rip out grass.
We're reading Halakha L'Maaseh.
Halakha L'Maaseh.
But the source of this is my problem. The source of all of this is the gemara that we just read.
There's a lot more. There's not only two gemaras that talk about pesik reshe. I only can bring you. There's a little more. So I'll bring you more. מה שאמרו גורר אדם מיטה וכיסא וספסל בבת שלא מכוון, הוא הדין במיטה כיסא וספסל גדולים, even if it's big. Okay, ready? Now. Asa ma'aseh, you did something on Shabbat. V'na'asa biglalo melacha shebevadai te'aseh b'shpil oto ma'aseh. Af api shelo nitkaven la, hayav. You did something on Shabbat, which 100%, I open the fridge, the light goes on. Not allowed on Shabbat. Hayav. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yehuda, no one says it's allowed. She'adavar yadua, she'i efshar shelo te'aseh ota melacha. It's for sure going to happen. Kesad. I need the head of a bird. It's for my kids to play. Then I cut it off. You can't cut a head off and it lives. וזהו הנקרא פסיק רשע, על שם משל ראש האופן נזכר. והוא איסור גמור מן התורה. It's asur biblically, not rabbinically. Lefichach, mikarer hashmali. Now we got some action.
So it's not getting the velanicha or velanicha.
We're getting there. Mikarer hashmali.
Let's say you have a loose tape in your refrigerator. That's how it's actually.
Huh?
You have a loose tape in the refrigerator.
Sometimes turns on, sometimes doesn't turn.
That's not a pesik reshe.
It's not pesik reshe because it's not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed. That's fine. לפיכך, מקרר חשמלי שיש בו מנורה חשמלית שנדלקת עם פתיחת המקרר, you have a light inside the fridge. אסור לפתחו בשבת. You cannot open the door on Shabbat. ואף שאינו מתכוון להדלקת המנורה, that's not why you're opening the door to turn a light on, מאחר והדלקת המנורה תעשה בוודאי עם פתיחת הדלת, אבל בכלל פסיק רשע אסור בשבת. Since it's guaranteed, you're not allowed. Okay.
As long as it's not LED.
Da'at Rashba, the opinion of the Rashba, in this the Mechalav. Now,
LED is different, man?
what?
LED.
It's different. Im lo nihale. We're almost done. We're going to wrap up in 1 second. I'll tell you one story and then we'll finish. Quick story. LED next week. Im lo nihale b'mlechet ha'isur. If you don't like the transgression, af shehu pesik reshe, kol sheha'isur midrabanan, da'at rov haposkim d'shari. If you don't, why? Because Tosafot says you cannot use pesik reshe lechatechila. So we're going to say, okay, Tosafot, we'll take this for biblical prohibitions. But if I'm only breaking a rabbinic, you gotta let me do it. If it's lo nihale and it's the rabbanan, you need those two things. Lo nihale,
light going on with the Rabbanan?
That's a good question. Some lights might be the Rabbanan. We have to talk about it. Some lights might be the Rabbanan. Right? You hear this, Moshe? Says the Chacham Yishak. Lo ichpat also will be okay, like Rashi. You just I don't care about the result. Now, one more halakha, 1 2-minute story, and then that's it. We'll do Kaddish. Lefichach. And then we'll do more next week. We'll do all these examples. Lefichach. Mutar leftoach delet mekarer hashmei Shabbat. You can open a door of a fridge on Shabbat after you took off the light. Ben kisham manua po'el, ben kishefsik et peulato. Whether the motor is on or the motor is off. For sure, you're going to let in hot air. Ever hear these people that tell you, no, don't open the window because you let the hot air and it's going to trigger the air conditioning? What do you tell them? Learn. You're making it turn on.
I usually say 2
hours. It's rabbinic. It's only causation, which is a garma, which is rabbinic. You think I care that the motor's on in the fridge? I don't like it.
I certainly care if it wasn't going on.
Yeah. Shadi. It's going to be allowed. You want to be strict and only open the fridge when you hear the motor on? You should be blessed. But it's allowed from the letter of the law.
Honestly, it sounds to me that because of the importance of the fridge, they kind of squeezed it in because it doesn't fit.
We have to continue next week. I want to tell you one story, real quick. One story.
But
Oh no. No, it's pesik reshe v'layamut. You're not allowed.
the thing with the fridge, or even with
Also, bots
the
out
window,
there.
Huh?
it's not guaranteed. It's gonna go on.
What? The motor?
Yeah,
That's why it's allowed.
because there's a thermostat and there's hysteresis.
That's why it's allowed. That's exactly why it's allowed.
Going back to what I wouldn't removing the head of a chicken to play with it? Wouldn't that be bots out for anything? You know?
Sa'al ba'alei hayim?
Sa'al
Sa'al ba'alei hayim? Yeah, but it's a good question. I mean,
You're not using it.
I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But hold on. We'll wrap up more halachot. I want to tell you one story, and we'll do more halachot next week. Closing the fridge door. If someone opened the fridge, like happened to me last week actually, and the light's on. The light's on. Now what do we do? So it's a big question what to do, and we'll get into halakha l'maaseh next week. But turning a light off is d'oraita or d'rabanan? It's d'rabanan. Pesik reshe midrabanan is allowed, right? So even if I close the fridge, did I do it isud? Probably not, right? Use a shinui, it's even better.
You should have unscrewed the bulb before.
You should have. So listen to the story.
You could close the door.
Because you're not closing it because you want the light to turn off.
You're closing it because technically turning a light off is not in